The content from When Justice Goes AWOL podcast is for informational purposes only. Views expressed by the host and guests are their own and do not reflect those of our sponsors or employers. While efforts are made to ensure accuracy in content, information provided may not always be complete or current. Listeners rely on information at their own risk. When Justice Goes AWOL podcast is not affiliated with the military. Warning. This episode contains depictions of violent crime and other subjects of sensitive nature. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of When Justice Goes AWOL. Last week, we were examining the case of Nicholas Hokema and Jonathan Kang Lee, how pretrial confinement could have been applied in that case in order to prevent them from ever meeting that night. Today, we will be looking at the case of Denise Smith. On July 18, 2021, Denise Smith, who was working as a security guard for a building over on 9th in Tacoma, was brutally assaulted and unalived by Philip Patrick Byrne, an then active duty ranger out of JBLM, Joint Base Lewis McChord. We will be looking at how that case was handled, why it was put in civilian court as opposed to military court. We will also be talking with somebody who believes that the sentence he received of only 20 years was not nearly enough for the brutality of his crimes. So, on the night of July 17, 2021, Philip Patrick Byrne goes out drinking with friends. He goes to a couple of bars in Tacoma, and he drinks a little too much, or actually way too much. He became more aggressive over time and ended up in an altercation where he was punched in the face and subsequently knocked out. During that time, he became separated from a group of friends, also other people from JBLM who were active duty. He was separated from his group, and he began to walk down the street in the direction of the building Denise Smith was guarding. Surveillance footage shows him attempt entry. He approaches her and tries to get in the building, basically. And she's the guard. She's just saying, "Hey, sir," she's being really polite about it. "You cannot come in here. I'm in charge of guarding this building, and we're closed." You would think that normal situation, even if you're a drunk guy, you don't want any trouble. You're going to go home. You're going to try and sleep it off. Or you're going to pass out somewhere and sleep it off. Well, that is not what happened in this case at all. Surveillance footage shows him attempting to get through her. She tries to shut the door. And in an attack that lasted 8 to 10 minutes. Think about how long 8 to 10 minutes is when you hear about what happened next to this poor woman who was just trying to do her job. So she attempts to stop Byrne, and he begins to attack Denise. Again, the attack lasts 8 to 10 minutes. He drug her by her hair, punched her repeatedly in the face, and tried to use her keys, mind you, to gouge out her eyes. Prosecutors talked about this attack and just how the menacing behavior that Byrne showed, just the ruthlessness and the disregard for human life. He choked her for several minutes up until she had already died, up until she had already been unalived. So here's how he gets caught, and just the way he's caught is disgusting. Byrne broke into the lobby of the conference area. He threw chairs, he smashed windows, he then fell or jumped from a ledge of that building, and he injured himself, and he starts crying for help. He started screaming loud enough where somebody notices him and says, "Hey, hospital, he hurt himself," and he won't shut up. Nobody has found Denise at this point. Nobody's noticed, that there's no one guarding the building. He claimed he'd been stabbed and sexually assaulted. Now, I can understand being drunk, but he was saying he was stabbed and sexually assaulted. However, when they go to examine him in the hospital, he refuses it. And it was discovered that he had no stab wounds upon more inspection of him. So this attack was brutal. It was horrible. I mean, she had a family. Denise Smith had a family who probably depended on seeing her and her being a mentor to them and just a positive role model and a positive influence and a positive source of love in their lives. And it's just taken away just like that by somebody who refuses to accept responsibility because he's, quote, not the monster the media makes him out to be. And I got news for you, buddy. You're a big enough monster without the media even needing to get involved. You took someone away from a family, someone that they're never going to be able to get back, someone they will never see again, someone who fit in their lives a certain way, and now they have to rewrite that part of their life because she's gone. And it's all because of him. He doesn't get in front of the family during court and cry about how sorry he is and how he's not the person who he clearly was that night. He tried to blame so many other factors. He tried to blame the fact that he had a head injury, that he wasn't responsible because he had limited faculties because of a TBI. That's a traumatic brain injury. Burns' defense argued that he had sustained a TBI, and that only exacerbated his alcohol use and further injury. But I know plenty of people with traumatic brain injuries who live seemingly normal lives or are capable of doing as such, and they also don't unalive anyone. They also don't kill anyone. I have trauma in my own life that I think has impacted my development in ways that I still don't understand. And I've never killed anyone. I've never unalived anyone. So I don't get to use that excuse. And you don't get to pin this on your friends either. You don't get to say, oh yeah, they separated from me and they should have been looking out for me. No. You made choices that night. Even the judge acknowledged that you had a choice to get intoxicated. And ultimately, you are responsible whether you meant to or not. You are responsible for what you did to her because you took her away. So, Byrne pled guilty on March 15th and he was arrested. During a July 23rd court appearance, though, prosecutors said that the Army planned to discharge Byrne. The Lieutenant General Francis Beaudet gave Tacoma PD their full cooperation. By putting this case in civilian court, that meant that the military would not get involved with the prosecution. This falls into jurisdiction laws that come up. It's like, if you commit a crime just off base, whatever county that crime is in is ultimately going to be the one that takes it over. Simply because, you were past the border, no takesies, backsies, or whatever their reasoning is for jurisdiction laws, I really do think that more good could be had if the military did take over cases like these just to show they did want to prosecute this to the max. They do want to hold their boys accountable. But when you keep putting them in civilian court and you get into issues of jurisdiction and then sentence length, and then you have people that may not know the whole story look at a case like this and say, but he's a soldier, he served, that means he's a good guy deep down. And just as a result of that association, the seriousness of these crimes are in danger of being downplayed just because he served our country. Who cares about what he does in his spare time? He's a soldier and he served our country, and that should afford him some perks, like when it comes to trial. And there are ups and downs into keeping these cases in civilian court, just like there are ups and downs of keeping these cases in the military court. However, I'm a firm believer that if you are in charge of somebody, like if you are a commanding officer, if they are supposed to be, reporting under you, if you are supposed to be leading by example, how are your other soldiers beneath you supposed to have faith in you if you cannot properly discipline, let alone properly sentence or hold accountable somebody who committed a crime like this? Denise Smith didn't deserve to go through what she went through, but she did. The fact that he was drunk, the fact that he has a TBI that may or may not have contributed to what he did that night should be irrelevant. He brutalized Denise Smith in a way that there was no coming back. And all he was concerned about was his own image, his public image. Please forgive me. I'm not that person. It's like, well, yes, you were, and you killed someone we loved. Yes, you were, and you unalive somebody we loved and held close to our hearts. And now our hearts are hurting because of what you did. So, as a result of jurisdiction laws, the case was put in Pierce County Superior Court. Case number 21-1-01877-5. The judge looking over the case was Stanley J. Rumbaugh, and he pled guilty on March 15th. And sentencing in this case was, according to her father, Denise Smith's father, was bittersweet. It was only 20 years, and that was the minimum sentence that could be given in this case. Not the maximum, the minimum. Now, many people have said, oh, it's because, he had a TBI, he wasn't in full control of his facilities or faculties, or he was concurrently drunk with a TBI. It just kind of baffles my mind that that is even an option to be used in this case, to even covered this case. It's like, well, he was drunk, so he shouldn't be fully held responsible. It's like, what about sexual assault cases? Like, diminished capacity and all those other rules. Like, wouldn't that apply here too? It would be interesting to find out how many cases where an assailant was drunk and given a minimum sentence, or if the victim was drunk and what kind of sentences those look like for their perpetrators. Just another thing to look into down the line. Why such a lenient sentence for him? Like, was it about diminished capacity? Was it about his service as a ranger? Was it about his buddies leaving him? Was it about... The judge ultimately said it was about choice, but then chose to sentence him for only 20 years, which was the minimum in that case. I'd be asking the judge what his rationale is for such a lenient sentence. I'd want to look up court records as to why Philip Patrick Byrne was only sentenced to 20 years. Yeah, and an excuse of having a traumatic brain injury only goes so far when the crime attached to it has the sheer amount of brutality that it did. I mean, you cannot make a choice to get intoxicated and then ultimately say that you had no choice because you were drunk. Because you made the active choice to get drunk and then commit crimes does not excuse you from any accountability. It shouldn't. From facing the full force of justice that would be allowed in this case, had it been prosecuted differently, had certain evidence been approached a different way, or the victim talked about, we don't know about any of those circumstances. So I'd like to introduce you to somebody who does. Much. I really appreciate you having me in your beautiful home. It is absolutely lovely that you're hosting me.
Oh, I thank you.
All right, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Denise and just, what she meant and what life is like, now just that she's not here and having those memories.
Well, Denise meant a lot to the family. She was the baby in the family. Denise was kind and sweet and just really kept to herself. All about working and laughter and family and just enjoyed life. She was a joy.
One of those live it to the fullest
Yes,
and in the moment people.
Yes.
Like if she went to a concert, you wouldn't see her behind a phone. Like she would be like there rocking out to just whoever was up there.
So true. So lively. She was so lively. Always laughing.
Joking around.
Always. Yes, she loved to play. Yes.
Give another family crap. Just
Yes.
like little ways that she knew they would get bugged. Kind of like my mom when I'm just like, hey, Mom, do you want me to wrap up the vacuum cord? And she's like, what do you think? She trips on it all the time, people.
Yes, I understand. Niecy's just a loving person. Niecy liked to read, drink coffee, do math, movies.
Wait,
She's just very active.
She liked to do math?
Yeah, she's a math person. She loved to do math, yes.
I've never had a head for math, and every time I get involved in math, it's like, this could be accurate or it probably won't, just letting you know.
Yeah, math's not that easy. Okay, so she was pretty good at it.
Yeah, I know more about random trivia than I do math. It's like, hey, did you know wombat poop is cube-shaped? And they're like, what? But you can't do your times tables? Yeah. It's like, I have a degree, everyone. So But she sounds like a lovely lady, just somebody that I wouldn't mind getting to know, like, at all.
Yeah, she's truly missed. We miss her smile, her laughter, and just her being around her family and the love that she poured out to all of us. She's truly missed.
She sounds like she was, like, the one that you could go to, like, depend on in, like, any emergency situations that popped up.
Yeah, she was always there for us.
A real level head.
Real level head. Called us every day.
Every
Even though she didn't want nothing, she still called.
it helps to check in with family and just, keep that bond there and let them know, hey, you're important to me and you're here. Like,
That's true. And we were all important to one another. And she will always be missed and loved in this family.
yeah. I mean, if you don't mind, if I can just look around, I see so many photos and just so many. I mean, it's obvious she has such a large and extended family that I'm sure feels every day like just her absence and just, oh, that is. I'm looking at this beautiful, like, rhinestone heart picture of Denise, and she has just got the most beautiful smile.
Why, thank you, Nicole.
Well,
I
I mean,
appreciate that.
Just looking around, it's just, oh, you can see just so many things she was a part of, but also just so many things she wasn't a part of because she is not here anymore.
That's true.
I read this article, and it's called "Murder Never Happened to Me." It's an article that was recommended to me after I lost Nick, and it's an article that's about what happens to family units after the sudden death or murder of a loved one. Because, and I've read this, and it is a direct quote, the unexpected death of a loved one through something, through violence or anything like that, is equivalent to living in a war zone. That is where it puts your head, is just the war zone mentality, just survival. Just everything is about survival at that point.
But at that point, everything is about survival. But I don't want to say it takes a tragedy, though, because living in the world itself is about survival, surviving, Yeah, so it's just surviving without your loved one. Now, that's a different story because now that puts you in the war zone because it gets difficult. It's hard. It's not easy when you're used to someone for 41 years and then all of a sudden they're not here no more. So it's hard.
Yeah, 40. Nick and I were together for about 5 years. And just his loss uprooted everything. Just everything became different. Nothing had to change. It became that way because he wasn't here.
That's so true. No, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry for Nick. May he rest in peace. I'm so sorry that this tragedy has happened in your life as well.
She looks like such a beautiful and vibrant woman, and I can't imagine just the pain that you guys went through. I'm so sorry.
It was rough, and it's still rough, but it's getting a little not as hard as I don't want to say not as hard because it's still hard. So I don't want to say not as hard. It's still difficult. It's still, yeah.
Anniversaries,
Yeah,
holidays.
exactly. And that's what it is. Her birthday's next month, and she'll be 46. And it's like I said, that's why I don't want to say it's not getting hard because it is hard. But just one day at a time. Just take it one day at a time.
There is not a single day that goes by where I don't think about Nick at least some part of my day. And I'm sure that's the same for you.
Same here. That's so true.
A lot of people don't believe that, too. It's just like, how can you think about somebody every day? And it's like, you can.
Well, when it was a part of your life and you were used to it being there every day, you think about it every day. Whether it's still with you or not, you still have those thoughts and memories of what was.
It's still there. Yeah. And that doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. We hope that it'll get easier, but everything is not always easier.
Especially when the world gets harder, and just having Nick in my life. He could talk me down off a ledge if work was getting hard, because I worked in a camp where people were experiencing homelessness. It was like a shelter, but they had 100 units of houses, and we've had days where I would go to do a welfare check on someone, and I would find them overdosed on fentanyl, or summer season when we would have kittens being born and they're dying in the heat, and I'm trying to find homes for them and fostering situations.
And that's what I mean when I say it gets hard. It's not everything's not easy because it's hard. It's hard on you searching, and it's hard on your, it's hard on our minds. It's something that stays with us. If you're so loving and kind, you pour out all that love, and you see things that's disorientated, and you wanna do your best you can to help.
Yeah. Take some of that ugliness away and
Take
just
some of
like
that away.
give some of that hope back.
Yes, give some of that hope back.
I mean, his superpower was he could make a bad day better. Like
That is good because we all have bad days.
the worst day,
Yes,
he could
we
turn
do.
it around for
And
me.
that's good when you can find somebody that can take your frown and turn it into a smile.
Yeah, whether they have to turn you upside down, like
Yeah,
physically
right,
or
yeah.
not. Just like, there you go. Like,
Let's turn you up this upright.
I'm just gonna turn. You can do it with babies. I mean,
Why not? Why not?
oh,
This was really nice, and I really appreciate you coming to my home, Nicole, to talk about Denise and searching and finding me.
thank you so much for being so receptive. I mean, there's always that apprehension. When I find a source or somebody connected to a story, I'm like, okay, what should I do? And it's like, maybe you should talk to them. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that little dialogue internally where it's like, can I really do this? And it's like, you have a phone. Of course you can.
Reach out.
Reach
Just
out.
reach out.
Worst thing you could have said is no, but I am so happy that you said yes.
And I am very happy that I did too, because it's nice for the world to know that Nick and Niecy were, I don't want to say brutally murdered, but they were. Yeah, they were. And that it happens. It happens. It happens to loved ones, happens to people you don't expect it to happen to. You just never know what's going to happen in the world. Nobody's immune.
I have learned that so much in the past 2 years, and I'm not sure if you heard about this story. And before we leave, I'll leave with this. I am going to be talking to somebody else that June that Nick was killed earlier in January. I got a phone call from a friend she has a friend who lived in a neighborhood really close to ours, like 5 minutes away. She called me one night and she says, just so you know, everyone we know is okay. And I asked her what she was talking about. She said her friend next door, who was pregnant, 8 months pregnant, was shot and killed. And just all these things happen. And
Just
it's like
a tragedy so fast.
a tragedy, and just the awareness and just knowing that these things happen so close.
They happen, yes. They so close to home.
Yeah. And it's
They
like,
happen.
have you heard anything about Julia Maupin, if you don't mind me asking?
I haven't, and only because I'm not a news watcher, or I don't read the newspaper or nothing. I usually get my news secondhand
Yeah.
from other people.
Yeah, and then you can fact check it at your
Yeah,
leisure and
that's
be
what
like,
I usually do.
okay,
And then I Google when they tell me. And basically that is how I find out a lot of things, though. And then just your thing now, which will lead me to Google to find out what's going on, because that's what I do. And I hear, such tragedy has occurred and happened, and it's so sad, and it's hurt.
But it's also like, how have I not heard about this? How have other people not heard about this?
Why doesn't everybody know?
Yeah, what? I still tell people about Nick's story. Not everybody knows.
Not everybody know. Nobody heard.
Yeah, I'm sure, not everyone knows.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just bringing awareness to these kind of cases. But yeah, and just maybe it helps somebody down the line.
And that is true, because it happens. And we're all going through a lot of, what do I want to say?
Unrest, if you will.
Yeah, that sound pretty good and a little accurate. We all.
I'm
go
good
through
with
a little
analogies
unrest.
like that.
That's good. Unrest. Yeah, that's good. Unrest, because it's hard.
It is. It is getting scary out there.
Yes, every day.
Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today.
Thank you, Nicole.
I appreciate you being here, and keep spreading joy wherever you go.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Nick's case made it all the way to the East Coast. But Denise Smith's case, I had never even heard of until I started looking into other military crimes as they came up out of JBLM. And trust me, I did not have to wait that long. Nobody's infallible to leadership issues or lack of accountability or people just behaving badly who are on staff. They are tasked with protecting us. Next week, we will be looking further into a case revolving around surveillance laws, how they apprehend perpetrators, and how some of the laws inadvertently cater more to the perpetrators than they do the victim. I'm Nicole Charcotti, and this is When Justice Goes AWOL. Thank you for joining me.